Hey guys, we're back with another training summary. Sorry I didn't do one last week, but I was in Scotland for the SFN Expo. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. For now, this is my first squat session of the week. So I did a taper last week while I was in Scotland and thought about testing this week, but had some issues in Scotland that I'll talk about here in a minute that I decided not to test. I decided to go right into my next training block. As you can see here, so this is 470 for 2 sets of 9. This is just one set. I didn't realize how much I was favoring my left leg. You can see it very clearly here. And I've been nursing just a little bit of like a groin, I don't even want to call it a strain, like a little groin pull on my right leg. And I didn't really think it was affecting me that much, but I can definitely tell from these reps that I'm favoring my left side. So I'm going to have to work on getting that addressed. I've been going to get, massage therapy done and icing my groin and my lower back and all that sort of stuff. And it's probably just a matter of grinding through. This is first deadlift session here, so this is 2 sets of 7 reps with 510. So these felt pretty easy, flew up. So last week I was in Scotland for the SFN Expo, which was awesome. Loved the expo, really nice people. But I was actually detained at customs for 4 hours, and they were trying to send me out of the country. They were telling me I needed I had the wrong visa. Here's a phone video from Thursday with 505 for 7s. They were trying to tell me I had the wrong visa, which I didn't, and they were going to send me home on Thursday. There was actually a sheet. They took my passport from me. They put together a sheet of paper saying that I had to leave by Thursday. This was on Tuesday, and the seminar and the expo where I was supposed to be at were on Saturday, Sunday. So I was obviously pretty upset. The SFN was really good about it. They hired an attorney who was able to show that no, he didn't have the wrong visa. This is a mistake, and so it got taken care of. Here's this was 3 sets of 5 with 545 here on deadlift. It got taken care of, but with a significant amount of stress. And the day after we got in, that Wednesday, I went to go train, and I was supposed to do 535 for 4 sets of 5 on my taper, and the first set just felt so awful. I actually stopped after the first 2 reps. I ended up getting all my reps done. I did the sets of 5, but I just really felt uncomfortable the whole day. And here's some video of me doing some presses. Lauren and I were in the same rack here doing some overhead military pressing. So anyway, the squats got done. They felt terrible. The deadlifts got done. They felt terrible. But on bench press, the bars at the gym in Scotland, and I don't want to talk badly. Like the gym in Glasgow was really nice, and they were really accommodating. The bars weren't the same specifications. The hash marks were different, and I ended up going wider than I usually do, and I strained my left pec, unfortunately. Not terribly or anything like that. Here's me warming up for my heavy down squats. I didn't strain my pec terribly, but I definitely felt it. And so all week I had to really, I had to back off by about 20 pounds from the numbers I was supposed to hit, and I had to narrow up my grip, which obviously I don't want to say I'm upset about it, but I'm annoyed by it because I've really been working on a slightly wider grip. So anyways, it's been a week I'd like to forget. You're going to see some really ugly reps here. It didn't even felt like I tapered. I know if I had tested this week, it would not have gone well. But it didn't even felt like I tapered. I just felt awful the whole week through. There's no excuse for it. I think the stress over in Scotland and traveling and all that sort of thing probably played in a role. But here today is supposed to do 535 for sets of 5, and just didn't feel like I could really ever get in my rhythm. Just they don't feel good, and I think I just have to kind of go back to square one and focus on really bracing better with my core and focusing on a straight bar path. And so I'm not gonna, in the AMRAP set today, in this day, which was Saturday, I only got 7, which I've done 5:30 for 8 before, and so I guess I'm encouraged and discouraged. I'm discouraged because each rep just kind of felt terrible, but I'm encouraged because even though I did terrible with it, I still got 7. So I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. But it's just one of those things where you're not always going to feel good during training, and there's going to be weeks where you're off, and you just have to grind through. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep grinding. My pec's going to get better. I'm bathing it. I'm icing it. I'm doing everything I need to do. I know it's not going to be like this forever. We just got to be smart about it. But it is frustrating. I'm watching videos of, oh God, you see that? Yeah, me shaking my head on my way up, like, what the hell was that? Just, it's one of those things where you just have to grind through sometimes. And I'm seeing videos of guys from nationals who, I competed with, and they're hitting PRs and all this stuff, and it's frustrating for me because obviously I wanna continue to progress. But you're going to have stagnations in training. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be a constant progression. It's going to be ups and downs. And so this AMRAP set was an up and down. Man, you talk about bar path just being all over the place. But got it done. As you can see, Lauren joined me for this workout. We had just gotten done at a meeting with her advisor, Dr. Bill Campbell. Bill's a professor at USF. Here's her doing a set of blood flow restriction training. Many curse words were uttered during this set. So yeah, so she doesn't have any weight here, but these are absolutely brutal. You guys have seen me do these for calves and some leg extensions. If you want to do it for a multi-joint compound movement, it becomes significantly more painful. But I would say if you're going to do blood flow restriction on a compound movement, I recommend doing it on a machine just for the simple fact that at a certain point, the pain level becomes, and the discomfort level becomes enough that it's likely on something like a squat or a deadlift or something of that nature, you could get out of line and injure yourself. But anyway, we had just finished up a meeting with her advisor, Bill Campbell, who's also going to be Paul Ravella's advisor for his masters. So Lauren and Paul will be doing their masters under Bill. And some really interesting research ideas tossed around. I don't want to talk too much about it because there's obviously there's issues with trying to keep research private until we have more data. But there's some really cool stuff that they're thinking about. Bill's a very much a forward thinker, and so hopefully there's going to be some cool stuff getting done. We want to examine a lot more of these things we've been looking at and talking about, that I've talked about in my video logs. So Paul and Lauren are really interested in that, and so is Bill. And Dr. Campbell's lab is pretty cool. It's basically just a area with squat racks and bench and deadlift platforms. So, but they can measure lots of cool stuff. They've got portable ultrasound. They've got metabolic cart. There's a lot of stuff they can measure. So we're going to get some pretty cool data, and I'm excited to get back into being an adjunct with research. So we plan to have some monthly meetings and that sort of thing. So it's pretty cool. So we had that meeting, and then obviously had to come and work legs afterwards. But as you can see, again, you're wrapping, with regards to blood flow restriction, you wrap proximal to the limb. And as Dr. Lernicke says, there's a lot of debate over how tight you should wrap. Lauren's using knee wraps, which is typically what we advise for people who want to do blood flow restriction, on the lower limb at least. On upper limbs, on the arms, the knee wraps are probably too thick. Well, not they're probably, they are too thick of a cuff. And so what Dr. Lineker does is he either takes the knee wraps and he cuts them in half lengthwise, or widthwise. I don't. Maybe I got that wrong. Basically, make them a half as thick, and then use those. And those are okay for arms. Or like I use quick release medical tourniquets. So I recommend those because they're just easier to get on and get off. What people ask, well, how tight is too tight? You know, for legs with knee wraps, I think wrapping about a 7 or 8 out of 10 is plenty tight. Dr. Lineker always says that, you know, if you're going to experience discomfort while you're lifting, but if you're in discomfort or pain before you start lifting, the wraps are too tight. The other way to know is just by your reps. Do you get all your reps in? So, like Lauren here was doing sets of 20, or she did her first set of 20, and then I think sets of 10 after that. So she got all her reps in, or close. And so, but if you can't get all your reps in, you know, anywhere from 20 to 30 on your first set and 10 to 15 on your next 3 sets, then the weight is too heavy or the wraps are too tight. Obviously, the weight isn't too heavy because there is no weight on the bar here. But trust me, but this particular hack squat is pretty brutal. I've gone to gyms where I can load up 6, 7 plates. I think I've even had a gym where I was able to put 8 plates on a hack squat and do, you know, 8, 10 reps. But this one, I think I only get like 4 or 5. So here's some bench press video. Like I said, you can already see my grip is narrower. So since I couldn't do as much weight as usual, I'm really focusing on working on the techniques, working on, you know, getting a good arch, and focusing on that. That was one of my last, I think my last warm-up set, double with 275. And so here's, I was scheduled for 320 for sets of 4. And on this one, I was just planning to do 315 for a single. But it actually felt good enough that I went ahead and did 4 reps. And yes, I was short by 5 pounds, but hey. Oh, I'm sorry, not 315 for 4s, but 320 for doubles. But this one felt good enough that I went ahead and just did a double with it. But yeah, it's been a frustrating week training wise, and but I figure, you know, I can't just put videos out there when training's going well. That's not honest to you guys. That's not how it goes. Training is never perfect. I'm not perfect. I have my off days for sure, and it was frustrating. I mean, came home and it was just like, you know, I always want to be moving forward, and with powerlifting, it's very obvious. You know, one of the things that's frustrating about bodybuilding is it's hard to tell if you're making progress, but it's also hard to tell if you're not making progress. So if you're not putting on muscle gains such a slow process anyway that you don't really see it one way or the other. Whereas powerlifting, you know, you're either putting weight on the bar or you aren't, or you're adding reps or you aren't, and just to be kind of sitting in one place, it's frustrating. But at the same time, I guess, you know, if this is one of the worst weeks training-wise I've had, and I'm still hitting an AMRAP for 535 for 7s, and I'm still able to do doubles with 320 on bench, even with a strain pack, I guess I can't complain too much about that. I was not happy with that last rep, as you could tell. Punch the bar, you know, because I'm sure it hurt the bar. I think this is my last one here. Just for anybody who's wondering, the lights are off because the gym had just closed, and I have a key membership. Powerhouse Gym on North Florida Avenue is where I train, and they're awesome. They have really reasonable rates. Not to plug too much, but they are fantastic. If you're looking for a serious gym, definitely highly recommended. Powerhouse North Florida Avenue in Tampa. So I got done with you know, squatting for the week, and this is my last deadlift day. I'm supposed to do 580 for sets of 3, and here's obviously some warm ups. Got my donuts and deadlift shirt on from Chrissy May. Shout out to her. Pretty cool t-shirt. I I was really focused on coming in and having a good deadlift day since my squat days had been so terrible. Really focused on coming in and trying to hit a PR, trying to crush my AMRAP, and it didn't happen. I matched a previous PR, but it didn't feel good, and which was weird because my sets leading up to that actually felt much better than they did the week before. But again, it happens. It is what it is. They say that in sports, really good athletes have really short memories, and so I'm going to put that to the test. So I'm really going to try and have a solid week of training this week, and not let last week's kind of stagnation spill over into the following week, because I think that's what I would used to do. And when you do that, bad days tend to compound each other. So I'm going to do my best not to do that. And of course, since it was 580, in order to equal the, again, tights are on, so it's serious business. To equal out the volume and not use communist weights, I did 575 for 3 sets of 3, and then my AMRAP was with 585, because I just like those nice round plates. Actually, something I am seeing here is on that side, I was locking my knees too early, at least on the left side. It's funny, when I do this commentary, a lot of times this is after, or this is the first time I'm watching this video all the way through. That looks like a little bit better rep there. When you're doing sumo, you really want your knees to be one of the last things that locks out, because if you lock them too early, you're definitely going to have issues. So here's the last set of a triple. Sorry for the yawn. For some reason, when I get on the mic, I suddenly get tired. Maybe it was from staying up and watching the Colts-Broncos game last night. So that one looked a little better. Now here's the AMRAP. Now, I messed this thing up right from the get-go. I'm actually off-center, and so I can feel it. One side came up first, and I can actually feel one side lock out first. So right when I got to about 4 reps, I realized, yeah, I'm not beating my previous PR. Right there, knees locked out too early. Yeah, still knees locking out too early. So that's something I'm going to have to address. I think that's a fatigue thing. I think when I get tired, I start to lock those knees too early just as a way to get the ball off the ground faster. And it's not going to help me. I got to keep it. Oh, man. So, not a great week of training, but we're going to work hard. We're going to come back. We're going to be better next week. And, find a way to make these not god-awful ugly. See you guys.
Can you record this on my phone?
Yeah. I'm recording it right here, too.
Actually, fingers up to Dr. Leneke, but I love you.
Cool.
I hate you.
Oh, so was it this? Or was it this?
It was both. It was actually this because that's the most important one.
Both were for Dr. Leneke.
Okay.
Come on. Get him off, get him off, get him off, get him off. That feeling. That feel.
That was potentially the most painful BFR.
BFR, brah. Serious business.